Neighbor and some little children. I'm gonna sing the dance that's really admire them. Yes, they're singing. Chin, chin, chin. In a bar. See for mama. Let them fat chicken. And she one. And she won't give me one. You see that girl named Dorothy. She fat like a butter. And she muggle like a chow. Oh, smallest is still on my mind. Smallest is a good time. Never had some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. What they're singing? On your carpet, you must be like the roses. All you need, bright and shining. You must be, and show me the one. Love the best. When I marry, I give you the ring. First the girls, second the boys. Sunday, Monday, afternoon. We will spend our honeymoon. Oh, smallest is still on my mind. Smallest is a good time. Neighbor, some little children. I'm gonna sing it and that's really admire them. Join the singing. Old man house on fire. The old man ran away. He ran for the police to get the water. The only fire down there. Escalated, shoo, shoo, shoo. Escalated, shoo, shoo, shoo. And a wipes the lady face. The lady wipes the lady face. And she fell down, and she fell down, and she fell in the ocean too. Oh, smallest is still on their mind. Smallest is a good time. Neighbor, some little children. I'm really singing and the dancers really admire them. Hear them singing? Children, children, yes, mama. Where you been? Grandmama. What she give you? Bread and cheese. Where is mine? On the shelf. How me go get up? Climb on the chair. So what's it called? Peanut cake. Bad picnic. Peanut cake. Wicked picnic. Peanut cake. Oh, smallest is still on the mind. Smallest is a good time. Neighbor, some little children. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen.
Spring
Washington,
savings are in bloom at
owner
Raymore
and
Flanagan.
founder
Get
of
up to
the Washington
30%
law
off
firm,
select items.
located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street, in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
One morning the captain wake, he
wake the boatman. The boatman wake, he wake the bowman. The bowman wake with the paddle in the hand. All I want is a long and strong. Long and strong is too much for me. Long and strong is eternity.
Captain, Captain, put me ashore. I don't want to go anymore. Eternity gone frighten me. Eternity gone drunken me. Eternity gone walk me belly. Eternity are too much to me. Eternity, eternity, eternity,
Captain, Captain, put me ashore. I don't want to go anymore. Eternity gone frighten me. Eternity gone drown in me. Eternity gone walk me belly. Eternity gone too much for me. Eternity, 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 eternity. Grow up in me bone, bam, bam, me not dead. Me not dead yet, grow up in me bone, bam, bam, me not dead, 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 not dead, 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 dead. Me not dead, 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 not dead, 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 dead. Me not dead, me not dead yet. Answer by me, I bam, bam, me not dead. Me not dead yet. Answer by me, I bam, bam, me not dead. Mr. Cap Cap, me not dead yet, bam, bam, me not dead. Mr. Cap Cap, me not dead yet, bam, bam, me not dead, bam, bam, not dead yet, bam, bam, me not dead, bam, bam, not dead yet, bam, bam, me not dead, me not dead yet. Pastor pray for me, bam, bam, me not dead, me not dead yet. Pastor pray for me, bam, bam, me not dead. Me not dead yet, Bella told for me, bam, bam. Me not dead, me not dead yet, Bella told for me, bam, bam. Me not dead. Follow me, pass and pray for me. Me not dead, Bella told. Oh, Lord, me not dead.
Gio, go, get away, you go.
All right, hey, guess what? Good evening. Welcome to Straight Up, and thank you all so much for bearing with us. There is no complaint, absolutely no complaint at all. We're just going to start our program here, um, despite a slight glitch. That's all, slight glitch, but the show goes on. We have absolutely nothing to complain about, and we are going to get started. Let me say good evening to all of you beautiful people, wherever you're listening to us, whether you are on the quarantine, whether you are, where it is, whether you are in Linden, in Georgetown, wherever you are. Let me just say a special good evening to all of you. And look, just whisper into somebody's ear who may have been complaining that they cannot get the show because I may have blocked them. That's not necessarily true. Again, I wish to repeat that we only block, you know who we block, right? It's Monday. So we just want to start off, as I see some folks saying, blessings, blessings indeed. Lots and lots of blessings, regardless of how you may be feeling, whatever your circumstances are. We want to wish you the best throughout this week. That is all. You know, we keep that positive vibe right here on 107.1 FM. Positive vibe indeed. Good evening to all of you again. Thank you so much for sharing the link. Let's get straight down into business. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend, a productive weekend. And I know there are lots of things that can, get you a little angry, but calm yourselves down. Don't allow things to get you angry. And if you're about to get angry because of a particular situation, always remember that the story with a man who complained that he got no shoes on his feet until he saw some other man with no feet at all. Good evening to the folks out in Buffalo. Yep, all the folks out there in Buffalo. I'm told that there is a special young lady, maybe in her 70s, maybe in her 80s, I don't know, out in Buffalo, who ensure that she is tuned in to us here on 107.1 FM. Good evening to you. Of course, she does that via the internet, right? So good evening to you, ma'am. You know who you are. All right, and good evening to all the other special folks around the world. Let's get straight into Lemon. Right away, Lemon wants to come on the air tonight. Lemon, good evening. What's bothering you? Happy Monday.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. On 7.1 FM.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What were you bothering me?
I don't. One second, Lemon. I think you may be a little away from your phone. You have the speaker on. You may want everybody else to hear that you're on air and that you're a big superstar. But let's get a better volume from you. Yeah.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Lemon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Working hard in the studio.
I'm sure you are. But good evening again. Yeah.
Yeah, what really bothered me, is I saw the video with the policewoman, the way they handle her. I mean, if that's a policewoman, and the police handling her like that, what about me and you and the rest of the public?
Yep. So you saw that video again. There's no justification for what the police did to their colleague, and that woman has spent how many years in the Guyana police force? 30 years, 30 plus years.
30 years.
Yeah.
30 plus years.
Again, sorry. Continue your take on what you saw.
I mean, the way I saw the police handling her, for a policewoman, that's unprofessional. I mean, you come and talk, get the inspector, the sergeant to figure it out and, sort it out. Not the way they handle her, push her to the ground, and push her out to the gate. What happened to the Home Affairs Minister?
And so again, there's no justification for that, right? And for many folks who may be watching, and who are watching, sorry, and might be asking, what is it that Lemon is talking about, right? This is what Lemon is talking about.
All right then. This what I gotta do. Get her out. Look how she turned on herself. Look at her. Drop up the man gate, man. Tonight you're under enough pain. Look, Sergeant. Nobody gonna come when the whole commotion done.
Look what?
Take your time, Sergeant.
Everything outside. Everything outside.
Put it in your body, bro.
Lucky Alice male, eh?
You're not getting the water.
And he get the weapon, lucky the weapon. Oh. Man, knock himself.
Where's my money?
Where's your money? What money?
Yeah. So Lemon, continue. And before you do, sir, let me just say, this is the situation with a police constable. She has been in the Guyana police force for 30 years.
Over 30 years.
You know, Lemon, I don't know what it is that woman could have done that warrants such behavior, disrespect towards her. And
I have no idea. That shouldn't, that's unprofessional, and somebody need to answer for that.
how does that make you feel, though? As sorry. Yeah, sorry. How does that make you feel, especially when growing up in Guyana and police men and women, I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago, you see them, you salute them, you respect them. Things have changed, but how does that make you feel watching at this video here, sir?
It makes me feel I want to run out of Guyana, I don't want to be there with what's going on with us, because I'm a hard-working guy. What about me? They may kill me,
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not promoting any violence, but if that was my mom, I need to be locked up for what they do to her.
This is so sad, though. But the funny thing, and not so funny though, is this incident occurred late January, and
now the video is coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, some folks have said to me that this is the problem. One of the main problems we have in Guyana, where there's something called victim shaming, right? A victim shaming is when you find excuses to cover up or to find excuses for the victim's behavior. You blame the victim. You say it's the victim's. And I've heard a couple of folks say that, that this particular police constable, they like to say people like to trip out. But there's nothing there that suggests that this woman tripped out. I'm not concerned about whether she trips out or most parliamentarians and politicians trip out in that country. So nothing warrant that sort of behavior, that treatment that she got there. But go ahead, Lemon. You were the star for another 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, that's my concern. Actually, my concern, the way the police handle her, and somebody have to answer to that. And I mean, we will get up to the bottom of it, though.
I like how you're saying that we get to the bottom of it. I spoke earlier with a woman, the constable, and she was in tears. Actually, she was in tears, and it's a sad situation. I see here some of the folks are saying, bring her on the show. Well, she was on the show earlier this afternoon. We had her for a few minutes, and it's just a sad situation. Her name is Shelon Griffith Sandyford, Police Constable Shelon Griffith Sandyford. A sad situation. Quickly, anything else bothering you other than this particular situation, Lemon?
Well, I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let you go ahead and continue the show, and I'm going to produce what.
I know you have your work to do indeed, but I'll give you a bonus. Anything else that's bothering you, sir?
But a lot bothered me the way how they, the install regime, propaganda news every day.
The propaganda news.
Propaganda news.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of other things bothering you indeed.
I try not to look at it and listen to it, but sometimes you have to listen.
I hear you. Thank you so much, Joe Lemon. Appreciate it. Appreciate your work. Appreciate the fact that you stop asking for a raise of pay and all manner of things. Thank you so much, Del.
You're welcome. That's it.
Yep. God bless you. All right. Our operator, our famous operator, Lemon. I know a lot of you have been asking to see Lemon's face. At some point in time, you will be able to see what Lemon looks like, right? And I guarantee you, you will get that day sometime. And so, police constable, she has been on the job for over 30 years, right? 30 years. And look, some people say, why is she still a constable? I have known other guys on the force for 30 plus years, and they're either a corporal, a constable, or something. And it's just some people's luck, right? Not all of us can be promoted, mind you. Not all of us can be promoted. But I wish to take this time out to salute her for her contribution, for her dedication, protecting and serving. I just salute her. Ma'am, if you're watching, officer, thank you so much for what you have done. There is no justification for this treatment. And I'm not concerned by some folks, some police who might be watching and who might have been part of this sort of horrible and embarrassing situation. To try to justify it. Nothing justifies it. Absolutely nothing. But what some of them may have been doing is trying to show the boss man who she has been guarding, that they are really there to protect him. How dare you behave like this at this man's house? Leslie Ramsamy, right? I don't know. But it's, I watched a couple of shows and they usually say it's the mindset, right? It's the mindset. And we've got to get away from that sort of mindset, especially some of our policemen and women. I don't want to, and I repeat, I don't want to take a paintbrush and paint them all with the same brush. There are still some honorable, some good, respectable members of the Guyana police force, and I salute you all, and I say good night to you. But there are, like in every other agencies, and Guyana police force isn't the only one, but we're talking about them tonight. They do have some hooligans in the Guyana police force, and I'm saying that in such a situation, these police officers who behaved in this manner should have been disciplined. There should have been a meeting, called into a meeting to be disciplined. One young lady, a police woman who was the moderator, so to speak, and or commentator, I don't know what to take of her at all. An instigator, and she knows how to do it very well. Just imagine if they were to pick up somebody and trump some charges up against that individual, and how they would probably lie. That police constable fell to the ground. Whether she tripped or whatever, she fell. But she didn't throw herself on the ground. She didn't. And we all saw that tape, right? Before we move on to some other matters, indeed, let's go back to that tape, because I want you guys to see for yourselves that she actually didn't throw herself on the ground. So let's go back from the start.
All right then, this what I gotta do. Get her out. Look how she throwing down herself. Wake up, bro. Rock up the man gate, man. Tonight you're under enough pain. Look, sorry. Nobody gonna come when the whole commotion done.
Look, what? Yeah, put it in
Take your
the
time, sir.
Everything on up inside, everything outside.
Ross, put it in the ground.
Lucky all is male, eh?
You're not getting the right circle?
And he getting weapon, he lucky the weapon. Off in the pocket. Oh, man, knock himself.
Where's my money?
Where's your money? What money now? Copy knock himself out? God. All right then. This what I gotta do. Get her out.
All right, if you take a careful look, this is where they were grabbing onto her, right? You can see for yourselves. We're not. This is not about propaganda. You see, the woman was just struggling. How could you do this to even your fellow police officer? How could you do this? And look how many of them. You can't tell me that this woman was hitting at them, that this woman was beating them. A simple matter. And here what the matter was, that another policewoman got in there and said that she has to go. This lady has to go and guard at GPL. She said that's not her understanding, that she's to remain right there. And there was a bit of misunderstanding, and this is what it led to. Take a look. This is what it led to.
All right then. This what I gotta do. Get her out. Look how she throwing down herself. Wake up, bro. Broke up the man gate, man. Tonight you're under enough pain. Look, sir.
This is the thing.
Nobody gonna come when the whole commotion done.
Look, what? Yeah, put it in the
Take your time, sir.
Everything on up inside, everything outside.
Ross, put it in the ground.
Lucky all is male, eh?
You're not getting the right circle?
And he getting weapon, he lucky the weapon. Off in the pocket. Oh, man, knock himself.
Where's my money?
Where's your money? What money now? Copy and knock yourself out? Your body.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Welcome back to Straight Up 107.1 FM. I'm reading some of your comments. I know you guys are really, really upset, annoyed about this entire situation. I have the cop on the line with me this evening. Again, Miss Griffith, Constable Sandyford. Sorry, Shalon Griffith Sandyford. Good evening. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine.
I know. Let me take this time out, ma'am, to wish and to thank you, for 30 years of service in the Guyana Police Force. 30 years, right?
Yeah.
At what age you were when you joined the Guyana Police Force, ma'am?
At what age I were?
Yeah. What age were you?
I can't remember.
Oh,
Was so quite a while.
yes,
I remember.
quite a while indeed. And whereabout in Guyana are you originally from?
From Barbie,
What part of Berbice?
39 Stanleyton.
39 Stanley Tongue. Wow.
That's right.
Again, thank you so much for what you have done, working, protecting, and serving the people of your country, ma'am. You deserve some sort of recommendation. You deserve some sort of promotion or something. But for those who may, thank you. For those who may have missed what really transpired, they've been watching this video here. Briefly, I just walked through it again for us. And you said that this incident occurred late January because of what? What led to this?
The problem that led to it is that when I went into work, it's on the shift. When I went into work the afternoon, I was to work on the morning, 7 to 19. And I went into work on 3 to 11 shift. And when I went into work, I saw a constable and a landscaper was on duty. When I go to the gate, the landscaper told me I have to go to GPL. I know I don't normally work at GPL. So I went around to the other gate and I go in and I sit in the garden. Sitting in the garden, I saw 4 police come along with 2 other FC come and tell me, come out to the location. So I said, what I do? What happened? Nobody tell me what happened, what transpired. Make they tell me to leave the location. Anyway, I continue sitting. And they come now and start pushing me, take my things out of the garden to put it outside. I said, what do? What happened? I'm performing my duty. I come here and perform 8 hours duty and then he gets the clock and go home. Never mind. I keep standing and then they try to push me. So I said, man, if you push me, I'm going to push you out. We got always police. And why should you treat me like this? Anyway, let's continue doing what I have to do. Push me when I'm coming out the garage and they push me. My 2 foot end up into the gutter. And I fell down. And when I fell down, all of them on top of me, like pushing me out the house, pushing me out the compound. Tell me, come out the compound, come out the compound. And he said, I said, why must you treat it like this? And I keep wondering, I even burst into tears. Anyway, I go outside, I had some money on the counter, and I keep telling them, I need my money, I want to go back to get my money. Anyway, I stand up out there, you can't go back inside there, don't go back to my location, the man don't want you inside there, and they start rowing and thing going on. Anyway, I talk back, they talk back, and I stand out there, call my husband, and I jump in the car and I went away.
All right. We're glad that you did just that. You are standing up for your right. Scores of people around Guyana and around the world saw that video. They're very sympathetic. And that is why I'm saying again,
Thank you.
you know, you're welcome. And thank you're a mother of quite maybe 2 or 3 kids, I heard, children.
No,
Okay, you're not, you have children?
I lose my kids.
Okay, yeah. Sorry to
Miscarriage.
Yeah, sorry to hear that though, ma'am. But
Yeah.
you know, our hearts are go out to you. Our prayers. You should not have endured what you did. And again, but thank you so much for 30 years of service to the Guyana Police Force. A little bit of good news though. A little bit of good news. You are to report 1 o'clock tomorrow to work or to meet your boss.
Yes, reaching boss tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock. All right. We just want to wish you the best and hope that everything resolved and that you are back on your job. All right.
Right.
You have thousands of people are behind you. They are rooting for you. They are praying for you. And again, you should not have endured what you did. How is your leg though? Are you okay?
Well, the foot sometimes from the waistline coming down just below by the leg.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel pain. And the hand by a fall with the hand and try to break the fall. It's something I can't get to right with it.
Yeah, I can we all can understand that. I will be
So I'm gonna try exercise with it until we get back together.
One quick question though, because we want this matter to be resolved as quickly as possible. It has been too long, but this happened since January, the ending of January.
Yeah.
What did you do during that time? Since January?
During that time, I will tell you the truth. I didn't disclose it to you. I went to Mr. Higgins to make a complaint. And his word to me, let me go to my officer, which is Mr. Trust. And I didn't went to Mr. Trust. I tried calling to get answer him. And I ain't getting that same because every time you try calling him, you got a meeting. I say, he can say, me say, oh my God. He told me that is how the force girl. That is what he tell me. Go to Mr. Trot. That is how the force girl. And when I tried to get to Mr. Trot to get to his story, they keep putting me off. He had a meeting. I went upstairs to general office to get to tell them. Nobody paid me no mind. When I went upstairs to welfare, the welfare officer wasn't there. It's only now that I'm getting a little justice with the story.
You are.
And I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
I'm very much thankful for it.
Yeah, and we are happy for you. Let us hope that it gets somewhere. You don't deserve it, regardless of what the situation is. And I know some cops, some of your colleagues who were on the scene there. It's unjustified what they did to you. That matter could have been it could have been resolved better.
That's right.
There's scores of people who are watching this show tonight. Are on your side. They are praying for you. They are disgusted by what happened. Here's your opportunity to say thank you to all who are watching.
Yes, thank you all who are watching and who are listening to me.
Yeah, thank you so much, officer, and God bless you. And again, thank you for your service. 30 years in the Guyana Police Force. Thank you. We salute you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Please do give me an update after your meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Good. Bye-bye.
All right.
Good.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that's the police woman. She said exactly what happened. There's absolutely no justification for that. None whatsoever. None. So we hope that they have this matter resolved, and the lady, the policewoman, the constable, Griffith Sandyford, is back on the job. She deserves that.
And this what I gotta do. Get her out. Look how she throwing down herself. Wake up, bro. Rock up the man gate, man. Tonight you're under enough pain. Look, sir, nobody don't come when the whole commotion done.
Look, what?
Take your time, sir.
Everything inside, everything outside.
Put it in your polygraph.
Lucky Alice male, eh?
You're not giving them a circle?
And he get the weapon, he lucky the weapon. Oh, man, knock himself.
Where's my money?
Where's your money? What money now? Papi, knock himself out? Your body. Look. It break. It ain't good.
I don't care. I want the money.
She had job.
I ain't telling you no more. I want the money.
She under arrest, yeah?
I want the money.
She not pulling. If she only find someone going to ask her buy. I the gun. Yeah? Catch it.
For what? For what? For what? For what?
She making enough people that come out to see this chocolate.
All right. I don't know. A lot of you are talking about The Voice. It is annoying indeed. And just to remind you guys that the person who is doing the talking is actually a police, right? And so you can just imagine. All I'm saying is just imagine, and then trying to degrade the woman that is being harassed, the police that's being harassed, to say, look at this, look at that. But just listen to that voice alone. and the mindset, and I don't know. She sounds to me like probably some new person on the force. May have gotten a little. I don't know. Um, you guys know what I want to say, right? But I'll leave you guys to say it. I wouldn't be saying that at all, because I do have the pastor from my church. I do go to church occasionally, right? Who's watching, and you guys know exactly what I want to say. How she's treating the other policemen and women, especially the part when she said that gun could have go off. What money? Look, it's Monday night, right? It's Monday night, and that's a very serious issue. But you guys, seriously, if you read between the lines, how I really want to describe her and her behavior, the one that was actually talking, not the woman that was harassed. She has to meet with some senior one of the guy in the police force tomorrow, and I wish her all the best. And she didn't deserve that, regardless of what the misunderstanding was. She didn't deserve that at all. And I'm glad that it's getting somewhere. I do hope she gets her job back, and that she will probably be placed at a different location. All right. So what else is bothering you? I'll check your comment section. Anything else that's bothering you? Anything else that's bothering you? What do you guys want us to talk about? I noticed our producer, because we do have a producer now. We're stepping up, right? We are stepping up. We have a producer, and you will get a chance to see that producer sometime. And I can let you guys know up front that the producer is not Lemon. All right. So, all right. What else? You guys want to talk about the list system, right? We've gone through that so many times in explaining the list system to you guys. I think we are getting a better understanding now as to how that works, right? Some folks seem not to get that, but it is very simple, straightforward process. Stabrook News spoke about that process. Kaito News spoke about that process. Village Boy spoke about that process. And it is just what it is, right? It is just what it is. And I think we've just got to move past that and the blame game and the misinformation and so forth. We've just got to move past that. I noticed Mr. Caesar is saying that we should talk about GTU elections. GTU elections, for those teachers who have to vote, to send in your vote, my choice is Ms. Vanessa Kisoon. I think that it's time for new leadership at the Guyana Teachers Union, and I honestly do believe, because Ms. Vanessa Kisoon is a fighter. She is a fighter. She stands up. She gets things done. And this is what we want. This is the sort of leadership that we want. Not just talk, right? Not just talk. She walked the walk as well. She get things done. And this is exactly what the Guyana Teachers Union needs, this sort of leadership at this time. And I believe Ms. Vanessa Kisoon is that person. So if you have members of your family or friends who are teachers in Guyana and they haven't voted yet, tell them to cast that vote for Vanessa Kisoon. Vanessa Kisoon, former member of Parliament. So I hope that answers talking. Mr. Wayne Caesar wanted to talk about the union. Let's see what else we can talk about. People giving shout out to each other. Okay, it's okay. It's what we do here on 107.1 FM. We reunite people. Let's see here. Yeah, sorry about that. So let's begin. I noticed somebody said they want to talk about to get rid of the list system or something like that. Is that what I saw earlier? Let's see here. Rhonda Lane. Hey, Rhonda, good evening to you. Rhonda is saying the police need to be properly trained. Yeah, typo. They need to be more professional. That is correct, Rhonda. I noticed here that Brenda Casey, good evening to Brenda. Brenda is saying that get a new list. You can only get a new list, Miss Casey. You can only get a new list when there's a new elections. Outside of that, you cannot get a new list. As of now, we cannot get a new list. There cannot be a new list at all, right? There cannot be a new list. So this list that is there right now has to be there until the next elections. And having said that, the list that they have currently with these names, these folks on the list, you cannot just remove anybody from the list. You just cannot. The list is what it is because it was presented during the last elections, or of course, just prior to the elections. All the lists have to be submitted. And this list was submitted. And once submitted, that is it. You cannot get a new list. This is not, mind you, Brenda and others, this is not a new list. I mean, sorry, this is not the voters list. This is a list. This is a list. And I noticed some folks are getting mixed up with this list. This list has nothing to do with the voters list. This list, we're talking about the list of candidates, party candidates, not voters, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about this list. So please don't mix the list up, guys. Don't mix the list up. Yes, we do. Yes, we do need a new voters list, but this is the list of representatives, the candidates, right? APNU list, right? And that is why it's there. So let us see something here now, and what the law says, right? We'll get to that. What the law says about the list. You know, these are the 10 geographical constituencies, and if you check here region 1, 2 members of parliament, and the coalition has one, and the installed PPP regime has the other one. Region number 2, that's the Essequibo region. In region 1, sorry, the APNU representative is Mr. Cox, Ronald Cox. Good evening to Mr. Cox, MP Cox, if he's listening. A hard worker out there in region 1. I know there's always room for more work to be done, but he's a hard worker. And then there is region number 2, that's Essequibo. 2 seats in Essequibo. One is occupied by the PNCR, the APNU AFC coalition, and the other by the installed regime. In region 2, you have Sherwood Holder. He is the chairman of the PNCR. He is the representative of that seat. In region 3, there are 3 seats. And these are geographical regional seats we're talking about, right? Geographical seats. Region number 3 is, there are 3 seats there. And the representative for region number 3 is because the PPP got 2 seats in region 3 and the coalition got 1. The person who's occupying that seat is Ganesh Mahipal. We don't know. Ganesh has been very quiet these days, very, very quiet these days. And so let's go to region number 4. There are 7 seats. I believe the coalition has 4. The install regime has 3. Occupying those 4 seats are Ms. Catherine Hughes, Ms. Bess, and 2 other individuals. Sorry, but just sorry. And then there's region 5, 2 seats. The install regime 1, and the coalition won. The one who is occupying the seat for the coalition in Region 5 is Vince Roy Jordan. And then we have Region 6. There are 3 seats, 1 for the coalition and 2 for the installed regime. Dinesh Jaiprashad is representing the coalition in region number 6. Then there's Region 7, Region 8, Region 9. And you notice I skipped those as quickly as possible, but they do have a representative, I believe, in Region 7. Could be Ms. Dawn Hastings. Then Region 10, there are 2 seats occupied by 2 individuals. One AFC, the other one PNC. All right. So this is how it works, actually. This is how it works. So let's get to the Representation of the People Act, right? This is the law. This is the law. This is what it says here. And when we go back to the list, we're not talking about the voters list. We're talking about this list that was submitted with all of the names of candidates for the coalition. All of the names of candidates for the coalition. APNU, AFC, and partners, right? So according to the law, right, the Representation of the People's Act, it says the person submitting a list of candidates may nominate one of representatives, their number as representative of the list. In other words, you get to choose who is the representative of the list and the deputy representative of the list, right? So once you have a list, and you present that list to the chief elections officer on nomination day, that's it. You can't go back to that list. You can't say you change it. The list is in effect until the next elections. You cannot go and say, I'd like to remove this person from the list and add a new person who was not on the list. So let's say, for example, on this list, we just use this as a list, right? Let us just say that my name is not on this list. And then you want to go and remove, let's say, Hubert Wong, number 86. You want to remove Hubert Wong from this list and add my name to it. It cannot happen. This list is going to stay as it is until the next general and regional elections. It stays there. That's it. Cannot change anything. And that remains the same for the representative of the list, the leader of the list. It stays the same. The deputy leader of the list remains the same. So it is not a case where, if, for example, you want to make me now the leader of the list, even though I might be, my name is on the list, it is not something that is part of this whole makeup that you can remove somebody and add somebody, or it cannot. The only time is if, let us say, something happens to the leader of the list, then who is the deputy leader? That person becomes the leader of the list. It's simple as that. And sometimes I wish people can break it down so all of us, everyone can have a better understanding about the list system, the list, of candidates and how it works, and the leader of the list and how it works. It's simple as that. So the leader of the list remains the leader of the list until next general and regional elections. The same for the deputy. All right. And now, if, for example, Mr. Granger decides that he no longer wants to be leader of the list, mind you, he cannot be pulled out, he cannot be plucked out and somebody else put in. There's a law, there's the law, there's a process. Things that just don't happen just like that. Just like Just like I've noticed some folks arguing that Hicken should not have been elected acting top cop or something like that. That there's a law, and there's a law also for this as well. There's a process. There's a legal process, right? And so let me answer. Sorry, I see John Talbot. Hey, John, good night. John says, so if anyone resigns from the list, they are not replaceable. That is correct, John. If anyone resigns, well, you can resign from the list, right? Say, for example, you are on the list, John, and I resign from Parliament. And the leader of the list, after within their party, they all decide, but the power lies in the leader of the list, according to the law. And now John is asking a good question. John says, so if you, John, if the leader of the list say, I want John to go into Parliament, you can refuse. You can say, no, I don't want to go. But you cannot resign from the list. You can't say, I resign from the list. You can refuse if offer a seat in Parliament, right? You can refuse that. So that's basically what is happening. I'm looking at some of your comments. Some people are saying Guyana doesn't have law. I notice here somebody saying Ernest Roddy is saying Mark is trying to defend Granger, full stop. It's not a crime if somebody's trying to defend anybody. It's not a crime. Granger is no criminal. All I'm trying to do, Mr. Roddy, is to point you guys to what the law says and what is the process. There's nothing here about defending Granger. I think David Arthur Granger can defend himself if and when the time comes. I'm just pointing you guys to what the law says. And so to stop this whole bickering about remove Granger, take out Granger, put this body, it doesn't work like that. All right, that's all I'm saying. And you seem to be a big guy, Ernest, a big guy. Come on, let's be reasonable here now. We're all grown-ups, right? If we're going to have a proper discussion, then let us talk. Let us talk like big men, professionals, right? And big women, and stop it who trying to protect who. I'm walking you guys through what the law says. What it says. A lot of people don't know what the list of candidates and these sort of things. A lot of people don't know. And that's all I'm trying to say. And let me go to Petal Brown. Petal Brown is saying, can Mr. David remove his name from the list? I assume you're talking about David Granger. Again, people cannot remove their names from the list. The names are there until the next elections, right? What people can do is stop. What people can do is, if their time come and if their name is plucked out of the list to be placed as a parliamentarian, they can refuse to go in Parliament. They refuse to go in Parliament, and that's all. So nobody could remove their name from the list. They can't go into GCOM now and say, I want my name off the list. They can't do that. It is there, full stop, until next elections. And that's all I'm trying to say to you guys. That's all I'm trying to break down for you guys. This has nothing to do with Benschop defending Granger. It's the process. Look, Stabrook News spoke about the process. Kaitor News spoke about the process. Village Voice spoke about the process. And that's all I'm trying to do. Look, if Granger goes from that list, if David Granger says that he no longer wants to be off the list, let me see some of you smart ones, and a lot of smart ones are on the line. Who do you think becomes the leader of the list? Who? Let me see if you guys got it. Let me see if you guys get it. Who becomes the leader of the list? The person who becomes the leader of the list is the deputy leader. That person is Kemraj Ramjatan. Kemraj Ramjatan will be the leader of the list if Mr. Granger resigns. You cannot take somebody out from some other place because their name and take them and pluck them as leader of the list. It just cannot happen. That is all I'm saying to you guys. And any lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, any lawyer will come and tell you just that. It just cannot happen. Oh, Mr. Roddy, good evening. It just cannot happen. And now you guys gone to Ramjatan now. Some of y'all want Granger removed from the list. And then when Granger is gone from the list, you have to deal with Ramjatan. Story done. I don't know. There's nobody else could come and tell you otherwise. You got to deal with Ramjatan. So, all right. This reminds you guys remember when for the 2000 when is this? This was the 2015 elections. You see who is submitting the list, the names of candidates? That was the leader of the list, Mr. Harold Lachman, Professor Harold Lachman. He presented the list of candidates to the chief elections officer then, Mr. Keith Lowenfield. Keith Lowenfield, an honorable man. He's presented the list there. Harold Lachman was the leader of the list. He had to do all of the work on behalf of those folks. All of the work he had to do, right? All of the work. This is according to an explanation by one, I believe, Starbuck News or Village Voice. The representative of the list is also called upon to provide replacements. So if someone has to go, as in this case here now with Mr. Harmon and Dr. Nicolette Henry, they're no longer in Parliament. This is the procedure, mind you. The representative of the list is also called upon to provide replacements for any parliamentary seats that become vacant, right? Traditionally, though, the representative of the list has been the leader of the party, but given the alliance deal hammered out between APNU and the AFC in February, both agreed that a member of civil society would occupy this position. Hence, this guy being the leader of the list as of 2015 to the 2020, leading for the entire period. He was the leader of the list. And now Starbuck News wasn't entirely correct with that statement that it was just worked out just for the APNU AFC to accommodate them. That's not entirely true, because this guy, chairman of the PNCR, the late Kami Ramsarup, who was Guyana's first High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago when Guyana set up that mission in 2019, right? Or somewhere thereabout. Kami Ramsarup, sorry, it was before that, but Kami Ramsarup was the leader of the list prior to the 2015 election. So I assume it was for the 2011 elections. There was the PNCR. There wasn't a coalition. It was the PNCR. There was a minority government. The AFC went at it alone. The PNC went at it alone. But there was a minority government. However, there was an arrangement for the PNC and the PPP when it came to certain things in Parliament. But Mr. Kami Ramsarup was the leader of the list also, right? And so I'm just walking you guys through what the process is, and that not all time, according to what Starbuck News is trying to say, that the leader of the party automatically becomes the leader of the list. There are two examples I just gave you there. Mr. Harold Lachman was not the leader of the party, and he was the leader of the list. Mr. Kami Ramsarup, chairman of the PNCR, the late Kami Ramsarup, he was also the leader of the list. Now, let's get back to the 2015 elections. As you all know, about this situation, right? When this guy, a lot of people knew that this guy was going to vote against the coalition. A lot of people knew. I was thousands of miles away and knew and heard and conveyed that information to certain people in the coalition. They ignored it. They said it's not going to happen. Guess why they say that it's not going to happen? They said they called him in and they spoke to him and they asked him and they said, hey man, are you going to vote against us in the no confidence motion? And according to them, he said, no, I would never do that, right? And he did it. And he did that. If I was in Parliament then, and I saw this guy walked into Parliament with Peter Amstrup, Jerry Govaya, you know, I don't know, Jerry Govaya is taking picture. I noticed Rickford Burke took a picture there with Jerry. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to laugh, but Jerry Govaya was right behind this guy. Peter Amstrup was right behind this guy. I would have stopped Parliament. And something wasn't right about that setup at all. Peter Amstrup and Jerry Govaya are not usually sitting up close next to anybody like that. And Peter Amstrup is usually on the other side. And this is where I'm trying to say to you guys that something was just fishy in that Parliament, in that setup that day, that I could probably conclude that maybe Sharon, what's his name, Sharon Das, probably wasn't the only culprit, and that there were others in the coalition at that time who knew about this betrayal, right? But let's get back. I know some of you guys are just don't like to see that guy, and I could understand why. I honestly could understand why. That's the same guy who currently sits in India as Guyana's High Commissioner. After he did what he did, they give him a big position. High Commissioner to India. Aapke naam kya hai bhai? Right? And it's probably going around Delhi and other places. Mera naam Charan Das. Aapke naam kya hai bhai? Are brap bhai. Hey, kya hua bhai? Nahi, right? And so that's what they award him. He's gone there now. He did his job. And India seemed to be the dumping ground for some of these guys, because you remember this guy, right? Ronald Godraj. After he got all of his visas revoked and everything revoked, right? They dumped him as Guyana's High Commissioner to India. Well, he's dead now, right? And now they gone and dump this one here, Charan Das, the India there, making tons and tons and tons of money, taxpayers' money. Now let's get back to why I mentioned the Charan Das and so forth. And so after Charan Das did what he did, they decided to recall him. There's a recall legislation that was actually passed when Robert Corbyn, the then leader of the PNCR, got together with Bharat Jagdeo to get this bill passed, where you could recall a member of parliament with no reason given. You could just write, the leader of the list could just write to the Speaker of the National Assembly and say, I want to recall Hazel Austin as MP. You don't have to give any reason. All the Speaker of the National Assembly would have to get is a letter from the leader of the list. Again, the leader of the list. And Corbyn did that because I suspect, and people are saying that he had some problems with some guys within the PNC. But that's another thing. Problems have always existed in political parties, and political parties have their different factions all across the world. This is nothing new. All right. So I just thought I mentioned that. So let's get back to this recall legislation, right? So the leader of the list for at the time when Charan Das did that betrayal act, um, Professor Lochman, Harold Lochman, was the leader of the list. And so the leader of the list had to write to the parliament, the speaker, to say that they no longer have confidence in Charan Das, and rightly so, because when Charan Das when he was sworn in, that's him there. He has the Bhagwan Gita in his hand. There was no vetting, there was nothing. He citizen of Canada, and that's a violation of the country's constitution. He didn't tell anybody, but yet he held the Bhagwan Gita, and I don't know. I'm just showing you guys that, right? He held on to the Bhagwan Gita, swearing to that all the information that he has given there is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? And let's get to this lady here now. She former general. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, former. I didn't realize that we have her up on the screen there already, but Miss Amna Ali. Amna Ali was actually quoted in the newspaper and this is what Amna Ali said in replacing. She said, Barbara Pilgrim was one of the candidates submitted in the 2015 elections to represent the constituency in Region 6. We found that she was the most appropriate candidate for us to extract. And so we extracted her because she was a candidate from the list. Now, this is what she said, as Amna Ali, that is, as the general secretary, right? The general secretary for the PNCR. And in 2015, there wasn't a coalition. There was a coalition. My apologies, right? So they had to make that argument. They had to present that argument to the leader of the list, who accepted their position and wrote to the Speaker of the National Assembly calling for Charan Das to be recalled. And when Charan Das was recalled, this lady, Barbara Pilgrim, Barbara Pilgrim was sworn in. She took the oath of office on January 3rd, 2019, at the 112th sitting of the National Assembly, 11th Parliament. Barbara Pilgrim. She became the replacement of that guy, Charan Das. Barbara Pilgrim. Now let's get to Miss Pilgrim here and why she was chosen. According to Amna Ali, let's get back to Amna Ali's comment. Sorry about that. Amna Ali said we'll get to that shortly. Barbara Pilgrim was one of the candidates. So she was one of the candidates. There were other candidates. This lady was one of them. Our producer will remind me of her name. And this gentleman was one of them. There were three, actually, right? Mr. Colin Bino was one. I'll get her name, shortly. And Miss Barbara Pilgrim was the other. Now, the reason why they had to choose one of the folks from the PNCR's list was because this guy got booted out. He got what he did. He did what he did, and he left. And then this guy, Dr. Ramaya, left even before there was a replacement. He, AFC guy, he got upset. Because he wanted a bigger position, according to what I've heard, mind you. And then he wanted some other thing to move wrong, like big buy and things. So he got vexed and he left. And he went back to the PPP, right? And so he was out, even though his name was on the list. They couldn't go and choose to put him on. They couldn't put him there at all, right? But let me say something to you guys, based on what I was told. Many of you guys know this guy, right? Attorney Ryan Crawford. You all know Ryan Crawford, right? And Ryan Crawford, that's J.R. Crawford's brother. His name was supposed to be on the list, right? This is Ryan, but our operator can find a better photograph. I don't want to depict my childhood friend in this manner, even though because of this incident, I haven't heard from him since, because I said that he should have behaved better being a lawyer, but it's okay. So Ryan Crawford should have been on the list. Ryan Crawford should have been in Parliament, but mysteriously his name got booted off from the list, and Charan Das' name got on the list, and Charan Das was actually chosen. I would have taken my chance with a Ryan Crawford over Charan Das any day. Any day. But the AFC got to say why Ryan Crawford's name was off the list and why Charan Das was sent to Parliament and not Ryan Crawford. I put my head on the block. Ryan Crawford would never have done what this guy did. But Ryan got upset. Ryan Crawford, that is. I noticed somebody's asking whether Ryan Crawford was AFC. Of course, Ryan Crawford was AFC. But because of how he was treated, and after this cop incident, he was charged and all these manner of things. The matters charges dismissed. And so Ryan Crawford decided that, look, going and he got fed up. So they went and they started their own party, fed up, right? That's Ryan Crawford. That's a former magistrate and attorney, controversial attorney, Chandra Sohan, and another attorney, 3 attorneys, right? I should remember that other attorney's name. A good guy, represented me a couple of times pro bono. A lot of lawyers represented me pro bono, man. Lots of charges, right? So fed up. So fed up didn't reach far because they end up getting fed up with their own party, fed up, right? So I say all of this just to walk you guys through the process and what really happened. And so, but Ryan Crawford should have been in Parliament. He should have been in Parliament. And so it just happened that he's not. But after Charan Das did what he did, we heard here in the news, Alliance for Change AFC Chairman and Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan admitted on Wednesday that he initiated the ongoing probe against the party's expelled member of Parliament, Charan Das Prasad, whose vote in support of the opposition's no confidence motion toppled the coalition government. That was the end. There's no investigation. We heard about some Kaz rape. We heard about some gold, all manner of things we heard. But I don't know. It is what it is. That was the end of it, right? It is what it is. I don't know. What else do you guys want us to talk about, right? What else do you guys want us to talk about? The list system, it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of like, I don't know. Look, let's get to Mr. Harman resigning. Mr. Harman did the right thing. He resigned. When I say the right thing, he resigned with immediate effect. In other words, there's an availability of a seat for someone else on the list to be sent into Parliament. He resigned immediately. There was no Parliament after that or whatever. But under normal circumstances, under normal circumstances, Mr. Harmon should have been replaced almost immediately. Now, if Mr. Harmon knew that he was going to resign, I am of the view that maybe he should have notified the leader of the list that, look, I'm going to resign on such and such a day, so that all things should have been in place for his replacement on that very day. On that very day. That's just my opinion. He resigned with immediate effect. Harmon knew that he was going to resign. Convey that to others so that preparations could have been made for his replacement right there and then. Simple as that. Then there is this other complicated situation where Dr. Nicolette Henry resigned, but effective 1.5 months after. I don't know. That wasn't the right thing to do at all. To me, I thought that that was wrong. You don't say you resign effective 1 month. If you got to go, you know you got to go. Politics is serious business. This is not like you're doing something else and you give 1 month's notice, or you don't do that. Just resign, at least give a week's notice. This is what I'm doing on such and such a day, so that the party, the coalition, and the leader of the list will be properly notified that, look, these two persons are resigning. We have 2 names to replace them. It is serious business. You cannot function without an opposition leader for all this time. It just cannot happen at all. And it is something I cannot condone and will never condone. All right? So now let's get to the point now where, let's get to the point in terms of who goes into Parliament. And who is stopping who from going into Parliament? There has been a lot of emotions, you know, people acting out of emotions. Granger gotta go, he gotta go, he this, he that, let him, you know, and Granger stopping this body. And it came out recently that that is not the case. The Speaker of the National Assembly recently wrote to the leader of the list, who happens to be David Arthur Granger, telling him that there are 2 vacancies in the National Assembly. David Granger immediately acted according to the law, according to the Constitution. And we have to accept things that way. You can't want people to act outside of the Constitution when it suits you. And then when the PPP jumps now and appoint Hicken, you jump and say it's against the Constitution and the laws weren't followed and all these manner of things, right? So as it stands now, no one was in the place or trying to prevent anybody from going into Parliament. I don't think David Granger is preventing Norton from going into Parliament or Vola Lawrence from going into Parliament. There's a procedure. Now, I'm told, I'm not sure how accurate it is, that the leader of the list, who is David Arthur Granger, wrote to GCOM to say these are the 2 replacements, the 2 names, Volda Ann Lawrence and Aubrey Compton Norton. Now, Granger can't just grab them, heist them, take a taxi, and put them to sit in Parliament and say, you are the opposition leader as of today. Again, there's a process. Parliament has to be convened. And I tried to make contact with the clerk of the National Assembly. They have promised to return the phone call. I haven't heard from them since. The next process now is Parliament has to be reconvened. Once Parliament is reconvened, then the 2 names will be the Speaker of the National Assembly, the PPP guy, Mansour Nadir, will say, well, hey, we have 2 replacements now. We have Compton C. Norton and Volda Ann Lawrence. After that, they will be sworn in. After they're sworn in, it's now up to the Speaker of the National Assembly again to decide whether they are going to go to a vote now, allow the opposition members to vote a new opposition leader. That's how it works. right? So let us say now, they now go to a vote. The question is, the $1 million question is, all of us are expecting, and I am expecting, that the next opposition leader will be Aubrey Compton Norton. That should have been in place a while now. But who am I to say that, right? I'm just a talk show host that some of you like, well, most of you like, and some of you just don't like. Because all I'm doing is explaining the process. And for explaining the process, some of you probably just don't like me for that, right? But let us say now there is a surprise in Parliament that 2 names pop up, are nominated. What if Vala's name pops up? Someone nominates her, and then someone nominates Aubrey Compton Norton. What happens there now? I don't know. I'm just being a little, anything happens in politics. Anything happens in politics. But I can tell you guys this, though. Vala Ann Lawrence said, according to one of the news online news report, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that she's going into Parliament to offer leadership. I can tell you guys this. Vala Lawrence is not going into Parliament to just take a seat and be an ordinary parliamentarian. She's going there for a position. There are 2 positions. Don't be surprised if it's the leader of the opposition. Again, this is just my opinion. I've been around a little while. I understand politics to some extent. Don't be surprised if her name pops up. So it's either 2 things. Vala Lawrence could become the next opposition leader. Could be, mind you. Some of you don't get angry. Or she could become the next chief whip of the National Assembly. I'll leave you guys with that this evening. That is true. That is true. That is true, Mr. C. Paul. That is true. Anybody can be nominated. But if Vala Ann Lawrence is nominated, she can decline by gracefully saying, at this moment, I have all confidence in the leader, Aubrey Compton Norton, and I humbly decline. She can say that. She may possibly say that. But watch out for the chief whip position. She's going in there to offer leadership, according to the report. And there are only 2 positions. Opposition leader or chief whip. Opposition leader or chief whip. Mind you, that's just my opinion. It's not to say that, that's just my opinion. She can be nominated and she can decline, or it can go to a vote. And then after that, Bacchanal starts, because there will be quite a few MPs who will have to go either voluntarily. There will be a tussle. I hope not, though, because it doesn't benefit the opposition. It doesn't benefit those of us who have voted, who have supported them. Right? It doesn't benefit. So they all should get their act together. All of them, every single one of them should get their act together. I've got to go, though. I've got to go. Politics, huh? Wow. This guy, Marco Rubio, is a lobbyist for the PPP. This is what Marco Rubio said. And the headline here, Rubio takes Biden to task for blocking IDB loan to Guyana shore-based project. Now, the IDB has blocked it because, according to information, some of the players, some of the investors are alleged money launderers. Alleged money launderers. But Marco Rubio writes to Biden, President Biden, to complain about the IDB blocking this. I don't know. I hope the APNU AFC can write to somebody too. But then again, the APNU AFC, God in heaven knows. God in heaven knows. God in heaven knows. So I notice some men, their feelings get hurt quickly, man. I love you guys, right? Some of them feelings get hurt quickly. Some don't like to listen, but they just one track mentality, right? That one track mentality. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. God bless you all, and God bless that beautiful country called Guyana. I'll leave you with this to remind you the state Guyana is currently in. See you tomorrow. Don't forget the morning show with the mid morning show with Gabby and Selector Andre, 9 o'clock tomorrow. On Wednesday night, Thomas Anderson. He has a lot of things to talk about. God bless you all, and God bless that beautiful, beautiful country. Um, I know how you guys feel. A lot of things need to be fixed in that country. Lots of things. God bless you all. Have a great night. Pray for that country. Pray for the leaders in the opposition too. Pray that they will stop the bickering, stop the fighting. They're draining their energy on things that do not make sense. And whilst they're fighting amongst themselves, the PPP is penetrating into their stronghold. Wake up, guys. God bless you.
Well, the gas raise up and the grocery raise up. I think the government should do something about that. Because people taking a raise up top dog, you don't know. That all what I have to say. They should really do something about that.
Right about now, living in Guyana right about now, I am in Guyana no more. I think I will go and get me visa and I go fly out and I go to Burmese and I go relax myself because I am in Guyana no more. I am in Guyana. I gotta go Burmese.
Pressure boss pipe. Pressure boss pipe, boy. Umaninza Guyana de underwater. Oh, on the wrong. Sorry. Umaninza Guyana de under pressure. What? Bangamere is $400 pong. Trout $400 pong. Oh, you go buy that sell back by. I just come and tell a boy, be some buy me little fish and mix with me little crab and sell. Thing that just raise, thing just double, the price just double. Oh.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.